This was it's one of Dan's from Napara 73. It was a tweet he put out with an infographic. Maybe you can go into some of the details here, Dan. It sounds a little bit comical.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I got a little cringe feeling from it. It's basically a free Luke. If you know Luke Jr., he's a Bitcoin core developer, and he's done a lot for Bitcoin. And he got banned from Twitter. He said some things that Twitter didn't like, and
What did
now
he say?
well, he said if you're going to forcefully vaccinate me and my family, I'll use appropriate force. I believe it was something along the lines of that. Yeah. And so they deleted his account, and now you have, some Bitcoin maxis, the Bitcoin community, coming together with this cute little infographic, explaining everything he's done, and then it has a nice little plea to Jack at the bottom, and basically just begging Twitter to give them back, give Luke access to their account system again. And this just goes because when I hear Vitalik talk, obviously I have a huge respect for Vitalik, but he's talking about we'll have consensus on Twitter and Reddit, no problem. If we have anything we need to talk about that's important, there's all kinds of platforms we can use. And now you start to see, is that really possible? Here's a Bitcoin core developer. What if there was something going on with Bitcoin right now and his voice needed to be heard, and you relied on Twitter? You saw what happened with people who predominantly rely on Twitter and they get deleted. They kind of disappear from society. You kind of don't hear from them again. So, this could be, if Bitcoin was under attack right now and he was a core developer and he was cut out from the conversation, the broader conversation, that's a big attack vector. And that's not something that you can just say, we'll deal with it. You have to deal with it now. And you're seeing what's happening. So it's very important to have a censorship resistant account layer. You own access to the account, no one else, and you can talk to the witnesses and the stakeholders immutably anytime, any day. If you don't have that, you're on a very shaky foundation, and it will be exploited. It might not be a death blow, but it's going to add some serious stress that doesn't need to be there. And it might as well could be a death blow as well. So.
For sure. I just think this is amazing because the Bitcoin maxis are so passionate about their Bitcoin kind of coin and the ecosystem and how amazing it is. And it is amazing. And I actually really like that there are Bitcoin maxis. I personally am not, but I think we need to have a group of Bitcoin maxis to kind of push that way of thinking forwards to some extent. I think it's a good angle of the argument. However, the connection between blockchain and social media has not been made yet. You constantly see the Bitcoin maxis talking about Web3 and how it's going to be on the Bitcoin blockchain, and it might well be. Maybe they'll come up with some solutions to some of these scaling issues and the all the things that Hive sold already. But they haven't connected that when you have an account layer on a blockchain that's actually really decentralized with no free mind, no VCs, no company behind it, you own your account, and there is nothing anyone can do to stop it. So this to me is an incredibly important thing. It's a revolution. It's a turning over of a new paradigm, and especially in the way of thinking. Once you realize that, there's a million ideas come up just in the next couple of days. Holy shit, is this really possible now? So the Bitcoin maxis aren't thinking this way, unfortunately, and so they still consider Twitter and social media as a Web2 centralized system that they have to beg for, whereas their value transfer is on a system whereby it's value transfer guaranteed. It's trustless. There is no one to trust. There's no one to talk to. And yeah, it's a bit ironic that they haven't put two and two together. That should be the same principle that they're operating on social media, which it will be. It certainly will be. But at the moment, people just haven't caught on to this yet. So yeah, just hopefully at some point they realize that this technology is out there, and it'll you imagine if you're in the middle of a war, a blockchain war as well. Hive is online, right? There's nothing anyone can do to stop you from talking on that thing. You can message each other, you can talk to each other, you can communicate. It's an online communication system, even when it's under attack. And this is so massively important for humankind. So massively important. The ability to communicate during an attack is massive. And this just hasn't been realized in the blockchain world yet, that this is possible, and it's incredibly important. When we were under attack from Justin Sutton, we were doing a lot of the communication on Discord and Telegram and places like that. But the actual, if we actually really needed to, if Telegram and Discord shut down and everything, we would have been on Hive. We'd have been communicating on Hive, and there's an encrypted memo system in there, so you can communicate privately as well. Yeah. What do you think about that, Archange? Do you think the kind of the ability to continuously communicate on Hive and make sure that's always up online?
Yes, because we are now more resilient than before. Remember when Steemit started to censor people, including me, and the only
congratulations.
Yes, only thing I'm proud of. We weren't able to access the information because there was only one running an API node, a full API node. So and we had no other node. Today we have several witnesses running API nodes. So if you start, you can no more censor things like they did on with Steemit. And that's a great news.
Yeah, for sure. Just to wave our hands. I don't know what you're doing there, Archange, but we're also running a full node on Hive. Just want to make sure we support the ecosystem, and partly for this reason, right? The more of these nodes that we have, the more anti-fragile the system is, the more it stays online. You can communicate. No, those lines of communication are just massively important. I think that's slightly underestimated on Hive and misunderstood. Maybe not misunderstood, but just not understood widely enough that we really do have a bulletproof communication system here. And I don't know that even exists in the rest of the world in any technology.
Unless you're putting stuff into the Bitcoin blockchain hashes. I think Valkyrie paid they paid some exorbitant amount of money to put their logo into the Bitcoin blockchain. But yeah, Hive is built for Web3. It's an immutable text place where no one can take it down. The world has never had this before. It's injected a new reality into what we know. And people are, it's one of those things where it's like a life raft. You don't know you need it. And then when it comes around, you see it, you need it. And it's going to be here. As people start to get kicked off, they're going to go looking around. The other Web2 platforms that are pretending to be Web3 are not going to have the legs of Twitter. Twitter is the chosen one. It's ordained by, the quote unquote elite, the people who are pushing propaganda. Both sides have it, obviously. So those, anything that's competing with that could be taken down, it's going to be, it's just, you're going to see it coerced or fall by the wayside. This is going to be rapid over the next 6 years. And then people are going to cling on to Hive, and it's not going to sink, and they're just going to stay there. And then you're going to gain this critical mass of people just staying here because there's no other game in town. And that's what happens. It's just, it's all about survival and consistency. As we go, more join the pack until it becomes the standard. And we're heading that way, without a doubt, in my mind, at least.
Definitely agreed.
For sure. All right. If anyone's got anything else to say on that, have a just pipe in now. But otherwise, I'm going to move into the main segments. Well, the kind of guest segments. Let's say I consider it the main segment because you guys are my most important people here right now. We've got two guests.
Oh,
yes, sorry.
I guess the only angle I would put to that is like, if you're thinking about just social structure, like how we figure out how the world is, how it works, our perception of reality, it's all based on our experiences and things we see. And if you're familiar with Noam Chomsky's manufacturing consent, control over media, control over the discussion, and what's left out of the discussion has controlled the world for a long time. And how can we really ever say we actually had a free market if we can't actually communicate freely about it? So yeah, this I think is going to give us the real opportunity to see what actual free markets are and what the true human potential is without limitations.
Yeah, I mean, just the number of unanswered questions that we'll never be able to know the answers to are incredible. The other beauty of this is in combination with gambling markets in blockchain, the Hive blockchain as a text-based storage system will be a place where history cannot be rewritten. So in 100 years' time, you're going to be able to look back on Hive and see what actually happened, based on a delegated proof of stake voting system, which in theory has the people who are, most valuable and care the most about the ecosystem at the top voting for it, for this content. So I'm just, it's going to be super interesting, because how do they manipulate history now going forwards when these technologies are available,
Yeah. Couldn't come at a better time.
Couldn't come at a better time. So that's certainly right, with all the stuff that's going on at the moment with the coercion and things like this. That they've got that angled down, certainly, for deleting out of history in the next few years and getting that out of the consciousness of people. And God knows how many other times they've done it in the past. Well, no longer is that going to be possible.
Well, didn't they start going back into the Wayback Machine and start editing and fact checking things in there?
Yep, for sure. Yeah, there's been a lot of edits to the Wayback Machine. That is completely subverted now. I mean, you can't trust it, let's say.
Yeah.
So these are all the things, can we build a Wayback Machine on Hive? Can we build a communication system on Hive that uses the memo system, the private memo system, so you can have a private messenger service and a private chat on Hive? These things haven't been done yet, but they're all possible, and they're all things that are going to help us move forwards as free human beings going forwards.